Good morning, and welcome to the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History to recognize and celebrate the spirit of generosity that, as we know, is so thoroughly woven into the tapestry of America. James Baldwin said, "We are responsible for the world in which we find ourselves, if only because we are the only sentient force which can change it." The world in which we find ourselves is certainly in need of the life-changing power of philanthropy. One of the more stark realities we face together is a need to live more sustainably, giving thought to the world we will leave to the future generations. Organizations, from corporations to the Department of Defense, are more and more implementing plans to be more sustainable, to mitigate the spending of our natural capital, the finite resources upon which all of us depend. More and more philanthropists are focusing on sustainability and conservation. Take Bill and Melinda Gates, who have significantly supported this worldwide and also been very generous with the Smithsonian, including this very philanthropy initiative. The Gates Foundation, among many other things, is working to teach farmers to grow sustainably and also funding sustainable energy. Roger and Vicki Sant, two lifelong supporters of the Smithsonian, are founders of the Summit Foundation, which as part of its mission is dedicated to making our cities more sustainable. And much of David Rubenstein's generosity is directed toward conserving everything from giant pandas to our nation's most revered historical artifacts and monuments. We have been very fortunate to have the support of these tremendous philanthropists over the years and decades. From its earliest days, the Smithsonian has been dedicated to conservation before it was a subject of broad discussion. William Temple Hornaday, a founder of the American conservation movement, was one of several naturalists who collected American bison from the West. For a few years, two of Hornaday's fantastic beasts could be found right outside the castle across the mall. In part due to the popularity of these bison, the National Zoo was founded more than 125 years ago, and Hornaday went on to become its first director. I must say the bisons were more popular than any secretary. Today, species conservation is a large part of the work of the scientists at the Smithsonian. At the National Zoo and at the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute, our scientists' efforts have prevented the extinction of more than a dozen species of amphibians, birds, and mammals. And throughout the institution, from the Tropical Research Institute in Panama to the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center to the Museum of Natural History, our scientists are making very important strides. For instance, scientists at the Conservation Biology Institute in Front Royal, Virginia, have become the first to successfully use in vitro fertilization with frozen embryos to produce healthy domestic puppies. The technique will be able to help protect endangered canine species. And researchers at the Smithsonian Marine Station in Fort Pierce, Florida, recently designated a marine reserve network that protects species threatened by overfishing, while at the same time boosting fishing yields. It shows that a robust economy and the environment absolutely can coexist. And one of the massive recent conservation efforts of the Smithsonian, the so-called Marine Geo, is the first long-term worldwide research program to study coastal marine life and how its health is vital to the health of people around the globe, since so much of human population is centered around coastlines. This exciting project was also made possible through philanthropy. Sustainability also has to be a part of stewardship of our campus, and it is at the forefront across all 19 museums and 9 research centers. Among many initiatives, we have been able to reduce greenhouse gases across the Smithsonian. For example, installed roofs that reduce stormwater runoff and installed LED lighting that reduces, as you know, electricity use by as much as 75% in some cases. Our building designs and renovations are all planned with an eye towards sustainability. Fully 16 of our buildings are LEED certified, with another 8 awaiting certification. The newest addition to the Smithsonian family, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, is the embodiment, in my opinion, of both the power of giving and the need to design and to think sustainably. The building is the first Smithsonian museum designed to achieve LEED Gold certification. With the incredible support of more than 100,000 donors, all ages, all income levels, all backgrounds, this museum became a reality. For much of our history, our nation's technological prowess was used, among other things, to extract precious resources, at times without enough thought to the consequences. And now more than ever, given the enormous consequences we face if we all don't act, we must leverage our strength as individuals and by working collectively. Edward O. Wilson wrote, "There can be no purpose more inspiriting than to begin the age of restoration, reweaving the wondrous diversity of life that still surrounds us." I look forward, as I know you do, to hearing all of your ideas for sparking this age of restoration. And I anticipate and look forward to finding ways for the Smithsonian to work with scientific organizations, philanthropic organizations, and others that enable research that will help us conserve our resources and sustain the wondrous diversity of life. I give my thanks to all of you, to John Gray, and to the National Museum of American History for hosting this very, very important event. Let's enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you very much.